So a real estate developer purchased 2 downtown office towers for $3.2 million with plans to convert them into 700 residential units. The buildings, once valued at $112 million, are nearly vacant and well suited for the conversion. Like, aren't those numbers crazy?
I can't believe
amazing.
it.
Like, I mean, we're talking pennies on a dollar there. I mean, less than 2.5%. That is just mind-boggling to me. Hey, Colorado, Chris Lopez here and the crew to come talk about the March 2025 updates for what we're seeing in the Denver and Colorado Springs real estate market. So I am joined by Troy, Brandon, and Jeff. So I should say usual crew minus Jenny. She unfortunately couldn't make it this time with us, but we got 4 out of the 5. So doing pretty good for the week.
It works.
Yeah.
All right.
So glad to have you guys back on the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about. So we're going to talk about some trends with what's going on around the MLS and Springs and Denver. We got some interesting articles that have popped up the last couple weeks. Brandon has got some rental updates from us. We got a parent-daughter house hack or parent-kid house hack to talk about. And, of course, some tariffs to talk about.
Tariffs in the news.
Yeah, because we don't talk about it enough.
Right.
The news does not talk about that enough,
no,
right?
not enough. So we're going to talk about it too.
All right. So let's get into the trends here. So I have the market trends report pulled up here for March. And what has stuck out to me, so this is Denver. So looking at the average and median sales price for detached homes in Denver. So this is detached homes up 0.6% for average, almost 3% for median. So slight positive year over year. Now, look at the attached down here, -6%, -7%. So talk about just the tale of, again, the 2 asset classes. Now combined, it's about, flat when you look at the 2, but when you separate them out, that is the clear distinction. So at this point, I mean, not great news, but also not surprising.
Yep.
Are you still seeing that same rental front or the same effect on the rental rates over there, Brandon, with the demand for homes versus condos and apartments?
Yeah, I mean, nothing drastically different. I would say it hasn't continued to grow. We still see the little bit softer demand on the condos and apartments than we do on single family, but single family for us, it's kind of been below 3,000 a month, has still been soft, not flying off the market. So
okay. Troy, Jeff, you guys done any condo deals last couple months?
Gosh, Jeff's got a condo deal. He's got a condo listing.
Yep.
How's the activity on that?
Slow.
What's the rough price point and location?
So South Broadway area of Denver, 370. HOA's like 550. So definitely up there.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a 1-bed, 1-bath. So it's definitely more challenging.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, condos are tough right now.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking recently, Troy. I can't remember if it was on last month's podcast or in between.
Might have been.
But you were just saying how a lot of condo complexes are no longer able to get financing.
Yeah. Some of it, the recent trend was with respect to the insurance coverage. And hopefully a lot of them have got that situated now or rectified to where they have the proper coverage in place, because all the insurance costs increasing and bouncing up. They've got to meet criteria to be able to do the financing. Not a lot approved for FHA. That's been a problem for years now.
Is it like the same, or has that gotten worse?
For FHA?
Yeah.
Probably about the same, which was just horrible.
Okay.
They just don't have enough of them approved, which is a tragedy in a lot of ways for the homeowners in the complex, because I think they're doing a disservice because you just closed the volume of potential buyers or candidates for buying in there. They're not having the FHA available. But on the conventional side, it's always kind of updated as you go. So it's not like, hey, you're approved and then you're set. Every loan that kind of comes through and comes in is going to reevaluate, recheck it. So it might have been approved last month, but this month, because they changed something or screwed something up, the project's not approved. It's not warrantable.
Like roughly year to date, out of the loans you've closed, what % have been condos?
0.
Wow. Okay.
Zero. But
0%.
we're working with a fair amount of house hacking type people too. So condos don't play very nice with that.
Okay.
One thing I've seen in a condo complex that I own in is there was a time, it's only 7 units, and there was a time where like 6 of them were all owner occ, but people have struggled to sell, yet life is still happening. So they're moving out of state or whatever. So we've actually seen it's getting harder as time goes on to qualify for the conventional financing, as more have to rent because they can't sell. So I wonder how many of these complexes see that too, of people just having to rent because they can't get the price they want or whatever.
Yeah, it kind of exacerbates things, because we look at the ratio of owner occupied versus non-owner occupied as one of the factors for approving the project.
Yeah, because there's too many non-owner occupied that you can no longer lend on it, right?
Right. Unless, it does help if somebody's buying it as an owner occupied, but anybody doing refinances or buying as an investment property, it definitely hurts them.
So active listings, I think the other stat, it's always good to look at active listings this March, just under 10,000. And we were about 6,000 this time last year. So about a 66% increase in active listings. So that's going to kind of the same trend we saw starting summer last year of that big inventory increase. That's still going on. And, detached was at 57%. Condos were 87%. So we're seeing inventory grow on both of those.
Even though like sales are not increasing, it's just more available.
Yeah.
So the condo sales volume is down. About about negative 14%. And the detached home sales volume is down about 4%. So again, they're both down, but houses aren't doing as bad. So moving on, let's talk more about rents. So I know you've got some rent updates on medium-term rentals and apartments. What are you seeing out in the marketplace?
Yeah, so year over year on apartments, we're seeing the data down 4.8%. But as a whole, it's down 6% across all asset types. So that was kind of surprising. That jumped out to me. I would have thought apartments would have been worse than the overall average.
Wait, you said apartments are down 4.8. The overall was down 6?
Yep.
And overall, that's homes, condos, that's everything?
Yep.
Wow. Well, what's the asset class that's down the most then? Because obviously there's something that's
I would say it's probably condos, because that's
Okay.
going to get that's not included in the apartments.
Okay. So condos are probably down the most in rents?
Yep.
Okay. And
especially because your average condo age is a lot older than your average apartment age, right? Because you have a lot of new apartments. There's not a lot of new condos in the mix. So it's kind of that aging attached inventory.
Okay. So we're seeing downward pressure on long-term rentals still. And then you were saying medium-term rental, though. You guys have been seeing some good ones in that.
Yeah, for sure. And specifically lately, it's been on the 1 and 2 bedrooms. So really good demand there, which has been nice, because some of these are coming over from struggling in the long term. And we're seeing them good demand, renting quickly, that kind of thing. So,
okay.
And then, like I alluded to earlier, above like $3,300 a month on single family for long term has been really strong too, which that was not the case, 6-8 months ago. So somehow kind of that, I don't know if that's high enough to call it luxury. It could just be larger properties, but good demand there.
Jeff, have you seen any rental changes? I know you do a lot of room by room and a lot of Section 8. Have you seen any changes in rental performance?
No, just been pretty flat, kind of what most people assume. It's not, you can't really just push for increases even for room by room every single year, and same thing with Section 8. Just did not go up year over year, and that's just the reality. That's okay.
Because I think actually I was looking at the Section 8 rents, 25 actually went slightly down from 24, right?
Exactly. Which
I wanted to ask your opinion about this, because I saw that and I was like, I got to talk to Jeff next time. But they were down, I think 23, 24, they were up like a double digit healthy percent, and they were down like a couple points, 24, 25.
Yes, that's kind of unique. I haven't seen that since 2009, really, where it went down. So that was kind of unique. But the good news is not every single agency is just going off that number. So Denver is still higher than that number, even though if you go on there, you see it's lower. They do it separately. Aurora still goes off 2024's number, so they haven't fully updated.
Okay, and then on there, have you seen any of your renewals on Section 8 go down, or is this mostly just for like new leases?
No, it is. It
Okay.
hasn't gone down, yeah. At least not for me.
So you haven't seen any of your leases go down, any of your clients?
Nope. Yeah, at the moment.
All right, and then I know we had some interesting articles to cover here too. So this one I saw a few days ago. So a real estate developer purchased 2 downtown office towers for $3.2 million with plans to convert them into 700 residential units. The buildings, once valued at $112 million, are nearly vacant and well suited for the conversion. Like, aren't those numbers crazy?
I can't believe
amazing.
Like, I mean, we're talking pennies on a dollar there. I mean, less than 2.5%. Like that is just mind boggling to me.
Yeah.
Now I know we talked a couple podcasts ago, like, Denver, while office to residential conversion is tough, Denver's, I think in like kind of like not the worst, not the best, but has some opportunity. And we looked at a site, I think somewhere in Greenwood Village, where they bought the same thing. Yeah. It's really interesting to see the first, like, this is a true office building.
Yeah, downtown.
I am so excited to follow this project.
Yeah,
and see how this all turns out and how many other buildings can do it.
Yeah, especially I would think like we've been talking about this timeline where apartment builds fall off a cliff, where there's nothing new coming online. This could be kind of in that timeline that's out 18 to 24 months. I don't know how long the conversion is on it, but it's just crazy to think how bad that thing must be performing that someone will part with it for $3 million. But,
well, it might be the bank.
Yeah.
It might just be like, hey, you stopped paying your mortgage a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The extended pretends over. You're selling.
Yeah.
And then, banks are just, they're market sellers, and that sets the floor, right? But that was just wild. But here's the interesting thing. So it's going to be $150 to $200 million total project cost.
I've heard people throw around before like 10,000 a unit. Does that check out here? Or is this?
Oh, you want me to do math on the fly? I'll see if we can do that in a minute. If it's $10,000 units, that seems incredibly inexpensive for me for a conversion.
Inexpensive?
Yeah, inexpensive. I mean, a lot of times that's a turn on an existing property. If it's, I would imagine
maybe there's like 15 to. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll do $200 million by 700 units. We got the mortgage guy over here doing it, right?
If it's 10,000, it'd be 7 million. So they're way above 10,000.
Okay, so they're at like 25.
What's 200 million divided by 700?
That'd be almost 30.
Add some zeros in here.
Yeah, don't come there, Troy.
Usually don't go that high. 285,000 per unit.
I think we missed a zero. I think it's 20 to 30,000 is kind of the range.
Yeah, that still seems expensive to me for that. I mean, if that's an all-in cost, I mean, you're not building the units at $30,000.
Yeah, if you're getting the building at 3.2, maybe you have a lot of holding costs and all that. But
so, I mean, that's going to be the conversion cost, and then sounds like some will be funded through the Downtown Denver Authority, which has some of the money set aside for the conversion. So, I'm really interested in following this project. And I would be, hopefully once it's finished, we can see a breakdown or see photos of what the units look like. But
did they say what the timeline is in here?
I don't recall seeing the timeline on here. I know in 2008 it sold for $112 million.
Jeez.
So 17 years ago, $112 million on what they sold it for. So another article, you brought over a couple here, Brandon. The housing market just hit a milestone and spotlights a generational change.
Yep. So we're seeing more and more houses bought. If you scroll down a little bit, we can get the exact number, but for like with plans for it to be a multi-generational property. So, am I saying the wrong one? Okay, this one is about percentage of new home buyers, or how many of the home buyers are first time home buyers? So yeah, down from 32% last year. We're at 24% of all home sales. This is nationwide, are first time home buyers, and then they explore some of that. They also look at the multi-generational thing that's been increasing.
Yeah, so this is where it says multi-generational housing over time has become more prevalent in the United States. In early 2021, 18% of the U.S. population was living in a multi-generational household. And especially as large baby boom generation ages up and younger generations have children, some age cohorts, notably Gen X and older millennials, are now considered the sandwich generations, raising kids while also taking care of their parents as well. I mean, this is, no surprise. And that just comes down to, right, well, hey, when costs go up,
affordability,
you get more roommates, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And also I think there's, I've been doing this for 6 or 7 years now. Like for me, it was a quality of life choice. Like it was better for grandma, and like it makes, my wife's and I quality of life so much better having grandma living with us. Like, we got the basement converted to mother-in-law suite. We get dinners cooked a lot of nights of the week. We get help with childcare, or just, hey, someone's coming to the house to do something. Someone's home to let them in and pay them or whatever. And as I've talked to more people, I think, especially, a lot of, parents say they both work, they have kids.
Mm-hmm.
For us, it's been a huge quality of life thing, which has been an amazing win. I think more and more people should look at it.
Your mother-in-law loves it too.
Oh yeah,
it's quality for her.
Oh,
as
she's
well.
on the grandkids, right? That's good for
everybody.
Good for the grandkids, and good
that's
for,
a win across
good for the
the board.
Grandparents as well.
You're a trendsetter.
Yeah,
You're
right.
You're ahead of the curve, Chris.
So I'll get royalties and everyone living in multi-generational housing.
Wouldn't that be a beautiful
if you
thing?
can work out that deal, Terrell, split 50-50.
Oh, okay.
Right?
We'll continue to do podcasts, right?
Yes,
please. Okay, good.
Yeah. So Jeff, I know you do. You're the house hacking whiz. Have you guys seen more clients do like true multi-generational house hacks?
Please do not leave. Unfortunately, not. You would expect that with the higher cost of interest rates and prices, but haven't seen that trend really pick up just yet. Or TSA representative. Unattended.
Okay. But on that note, I know you guys, one of the deals we want to talk about today was there's a client you're helping to buy the second house hack with, I think with
the next daughter.
The
older daughter.
Yeah, it's a really cool story. So kind of tee up the background and then talk about the current deal.
Yeah, so background, I can touch on that. Jeff, you can throw in wherever you want. But first house hack was a single family with a separate entrance. So it's single family, but the flavor of a duplex, and renting out long-term lease, I think Section 8 for the basement unit, and then doing rent by room with a daughter upstairs, which was about 6 to 8 months ago. We closed on that, and now the other daughters got the bug and buying a straight-up duplex, and then going to do some rent by room with that and rent the other unit as well. So kind of a rinse and repeat, kind of a good price point at $550. So that's huge. Yeah. I think it'll work out pretty well for them. It's actually cheaper than the first house, right, Jeff?
Yeah, first one was like what, $650, Troy, $630, somewhere there.
Yeah, so this one will be great. A little bit older home, I think it is, but it might need a little more work done to it. But yeah, our client's in great shape to do that and get that set up.
Yeah, no, while this isn't like a multi-generational house hack, it is kind of like a multi-generational like investment, which I love. And I don't know if it's just, I'm seeing more of it, if the market is doing more, but I feel like I've talked to more and more investors who are doing that with their kids.
Yeah.
Just as they're, a lot of people, as we all know, they want to, they're diversifying away from the stock market some. They want to buy rentals. And then as we got to get down to details, hey, buying a long-term rental, those numbers are challenging right now. And as we're kind of talking through options, they've got a kid going to college or a young adult. And it's like, oh, the opportunity to go out there and essentially partner. Hey, they have the capital for a 5% down payment. Kid builds some credit, runs it. Like, I think it's an awesome strategy.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where, like, if you do that, like, they're actually going to achieve cash flow, and it's a really good business plan for the house hacking stuff. And then,
precisely,
everyone gets to get some of the profits.
Yeah. Yep. Gets the kids into real estate in their early 20s. at a young age. And so
have you seen that in any of the loans you do or, groups you're in? Have you seen that trend pick up outside of like our niche? Or is that just because we're in that niche? So
we're in that niche.
A lot more of it?
I don't see it outside of our niche. It's definitely within our niche of house hackers, and not as prevalent. I mean, I'd like to see some more people doing it, but yeah, some people are taking advantage of it because I think it's a great way to go.
Yeah. Well, I know we got a lot of house hackers on this podcast, a lot of also real estate investors, but you're out there with, young adults or kids going to college. That's an amazing strategy.
Yeah. And especially as the condo market, that which was like a traditional starter home kind of thing, because that looks less and less attractive and harder to qualify for them and higher HOAs and stuff. It's a great alternative.
And it's been a thing in the past. That was always the kiddie condo where the parents would buy a place where the kids go to college and then rent it out. That's always been a thing, but that's not a true house hack. But in a way, they're leveraging the kids situation and getting a place and making it more economical for themselves. And hopefully they come out profitable when they sell the property when the kid's done.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's cool on this one too, Chris, is we did a backup offer. So it was listed at 600. We know a flipper came in before us, got our contract for below list price because it needs work. They didn't say how much, so we said, hey, we'll be back up at 550, and the first deal fell apart, and we were second position, and now we moved to first position. So backup offers sometimes, finishing second place can be good sometimes, especially with real estate investing.
Yeah, I mean, backup offers were, I feel like fairly common when the market was really hot. Are you seeing, are all other agents still putting backup offers? Like, it's a strategy that we always loved. I just, it's not the crazy seller's market it used to be.
No, I think it's a great strategy, and Jeff has used it multiple times to great effect. Just getting in there, kind of weighing in what's going on, doing his intel, but weighing in on what the situation is on the first, and looking at on the first deal that's under contract. It's like, okay, we've got a chance here at this reasonable shot, and let's go in a second position, advise the client accordingly, and here we are. We've got a great deal. And then you don't go back on the market and have multiple offers or have to compete or worry about that. You're just in and on your way.
Are you often finding out what it's under contract for to know how to be competitive at that second, at the backup position?
Yeah, I think it just depends. So the answer is yes and no. It depends on what the listing agent's willing to disclose. So sometimes they tell you, give you hints. Say, oh yeah, if you come at this, they'll sign it. Or they'll say, if you come up with that, I don't know if they'll sign it or not. Because if they don't sign the backup offer, then you're not in backup position. You're just kind of they can call you or call anyone if it goes back on the market. So yeah, it just depends on the seller and listing.
So on changing gears on your brand, this popped my mind. I know you have a brokerage division at Key Renter that you guys a lot of times help your clients sell, rentals they want to dispose of. Mm-hmm. Have you seen any trends in landlords, same selling rate, selling less, selling more?
Yeah, it's been really interesting. Last year, we had a bunch of listings that never sold and became rentals again.
So they were clients who wanted to sell, couldn't get the price, brought back the rental market?
Yeah, both with us and with their own broker outside of it.
So just general market.
Seeing some of that. We have seen an absolute flurry lately of people selling. So it's for some reason we are seeing a lot of people move. We're losing more than we'd like to out that end, but a couple of those coming back. A lot of them are still in process, so who knows what'll happen. But yeah, I'm shocked how much our phone is ringing where it's like, hey, I've been on the market for 3 months and we're just not getting any activity. And so it doesn't even feel like we're close to getting the price we want. So we better just rent it. So, the numbers speak to that, right? We have a ton of active units and the sales volume's not going up. So, I think we'll continue to see that of both losing properties to people trying to sell, but bringing some of them back on or others on that can't sell.
Which one do you think is going to be more leaving or more coming in from landlords being, wanting to exit versus people that can't sell? Which one do you think will net more?
If I had to guess, it'll be...
You have to.
More. Yeah. It's not what I hope, but I think more will leave. It just seems like we have a lot of a lot of people who are, not a lot, but it's a small percentage, but more than we would like, who I think just feel frustrated by the rental market. And
Or you're talking like,
wanting
you're
out.
talking like this 1% of the portfolio. Or, I'm always just very curious. I don't know if you know off the top of your head.
Yeah, totally. So like for us, a good month would be losing 10 to 14 properties, something like that. So, and we have about 1,100 or 1,150, something like that. So,
Okay.
So yeah, just under, or somewhere around 1% is a good month for us.
And you're talking about losing those to people selling the property?
Yeah. I'm including every reason we'd lose it. So
Okay.
sometimes it's them moving back into the property or something like that too. But then a bad month for us, that would get into the 20s or something like that. So closer to 2%, something like that.
Wow. Okay. And then there was one more article that you brought up, Brandon, and it is real estate agents are reluctant to recommend their career among industry challenges.
There's part of me that thinks, well, of course, realtors wouldn't recommend people get into the business because that's their competition or something. But this is a stat that they've been tracking for a while, and it's certainly at a low. I don't know about all-time low, but it's so only 21.2% of agents say they are likely to recommend being a real estate agent, compared to 49.8% who said they are unlikely to recommend their career to others. And yeah, it's a 29 percentage point differential swing that is worsened since COVID. When that number was 17%, the difference between how many said don't do this and do this. So a growing number of agents are not feeling great about their profession.
I'm curious to hear Jeff's opinion on here in a second, but I have a lot of aspiring agents, new agents, just career advice, or people want to transition to real estate invest. Hey, transition out of a career, but make it a career aligned with investing. And brokerage is obviously one of the top career changes. And I've told a lot of people last couple of years, I'm like, if you especially want to be an investment broker right now, like do residential rentals, I'm like, it's so much tougher now. I'm like, here's where it's working. Look at the Jeff Whites out there, and look for people who are doing the room by rooms and medium term rentals, and they got a very creative niche out there. But I said, if you're not in some creative niche, I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
To put it very politely.
Yeah.
I'm curious, Jeff, I'm sure you get that question too from people wanting to make a transition to broker. I mean, you made a great transition, a few years ago. Have you had people ask you, and what's kind of your advice and reaction to this article?
So really, you said it right there. You have to have a niche. And if you don't have some unique thing you provide value, it's extremely difficult, because there is a lot of people that come from sales backgrounds, that come from, join teams that give them insight, leads and all that. So if you don't have those soft skills with sales background, you got to join a team that provides leads and get you up and running, or have another source of income, because it's, feast or famine. And a lot of people, it's more famine right now, especially junior agents, when they don't have a niche or specific thing they're really good at. Because it's just almost, I would say, too many agents that could do that, like just a general agent that just shows normal houses. Then people that are more focused. And that's what separates. That's where I kind of had that niche from the start, right? I was never trying to go after the ones that are just the normal retail buyers, and I don't want that. That's not my skill set. So because I developed that, became the expert in my little niche, that's what makes me unique, and that's where I provide more value than other agents like myself, other investor-focused agents. And that's where they would have to really think about that. If they don't pursue that path, they just want to represent normal retail buyers, they got to really find a team that has really good support and training, because it's tough going out there right now.
Yeah, I mean, a team or a respective niche within the other parts, because I mean, we all know there's real estate right now is challenging, and I think a lot of agents are leaving the industry, and I think a lot of people come in and, hey, just come in and do that general agent attitude and have like a very specific business plan niches. Man, what an uphill and most likely a losing battle. Cool. All right, Troy, save the best for last.
Oh boy. Yeah,
we got the
fun
T
stuff.
word to talk about.
The T word,
The
and it's
T
not
word.
Troy.
Troy, you got the T word to talk about. You get your coffee day. You're quick.
Yeah.
So, we are recording this, I think about a week and change after the tariffs got announced.
Yep. You said it. You said the T word.
Oh, sorry. You're right. The T word. Rates dropped for a minute. They were trending down. They dropped for a minute. Yep. Now they've spiked. Kind of walk us through what's happened the last few weeks and where things are at today.
Yeah. So not looking pretty. A lot of money moving out of the markets. Treasuries are up. 10-year treasuries up sharply. Obviously, that has a big impact on mortgage-backed securities, mortgage interest rates. So, yeah, we're seeing a steady diet of day over day increasing in the interest rates. And so we've probably overall, I'd say at least 0.5% to the rate up from where we were, and maybe in some cases 0.75-ish of increase.
Was that from where it dropped to?
Yeah, kind of from where it was dropped down to. So in the big scheme of things, it's not like the worst we've seen in the recent past in the last 6 months, but it's definitely not what we want to see coming into the spring buying season here in April and May. But the technicals behind all that would be favorable to interest rates. So take the T word out of the equation and we'd be seeing some better rates still beyond. So the hope is very generalized word. You don't plan on hope, but
no.
we're still going to hope that this settles down and that we can see some reprieve come around.
So when, just a couple of days ago from this, Trump announced, I think, the 90-day pause on the stock market jump, 9 or 10% that one day.
They got happy with that.
Yeah, I got really happy. What did rates do when that news came out?
Well, when he put the pause out, there was some improvement.
Okay.
For sure. The volatility has just been crazy. We've seen intraday rate changes where the pricing comes out in the morning, they'll increase, and then we get a decrease in the afternoon. So, they're spiking around to where there's rate changes within the day. It's not just a day-to-day thing. It's within the day. So, yeah, a lot of volatility with it. Good news. I'm happy with what our company has. We have a float down option. So if they do improve, somebody locks in now, they can float it down. If they're closing 30 days out, so a week out, we can grab a better rate.
Yeah.
If they're locked in. So that's huge to kind of mitigate some of that. And then, hopefully, like I was saying, the technicals come in and they should actually be supporting better rates. So again, this T word tariffs
is like unemployment.
Unemployment,
jobs,
consumer price
inflation.
index, just the general indicators of what the markets are doing should be actually helping it. But with all that said, and like we were talking a little bit before we started the podcast here, Chris, is, recessions. They're talking recession a lot, and recessions are great for real estate. Recession, real estate, they kind of go together because you get some better rates. They're talking about the Fed doing some more cuts here than what was expected before all this started happening. So maybe we'll see some more
What's
Fed
the
cuts.
current forecast for 2025? I think they were forecasting 2.25?
Yeah, 2 and 25, and now I think it's more like a 3 to 4.
Wow.
It changes obviously, so don't count on it, but there's talks of definitely more Fed cuts. So, that could boost things. And the talk is you should be kind of buying now still, regardless. That's the way we feel about it. Of course, we got a bias because we're in this world, but but that's still.
Well, I think we'll see. Obviously, there's the market volatility right now is just it's a lot, and it changes day to day with where the policy is directed. But with the market being soft, a lot of uncertainty, and as you said, technicals looking good out there for rates, I'd be out there shopping.
Oh yeah.
And then find a deal. Then if you're catching into it where rates are softening, or you're able to float drop it like you have.
Yeah.
Promising opportunities and maybe catch interest rates coming down too.
Yeah. And as long as all your numbers work on the front end and you do your homework on the property, like this one, these couple that we've been working on, Jeff and I have been working on, they'll still work.
Yeah.
And we've had some at higher rates that are working out just great for our clients.
So have you guys seen any, last couple of weeks, especially any buyers or sellers, hit pause or change your tune just because of all the market volatility?
I've had a few personally that have hit pause, but they're not necessarily house hacker
More
clients.
just like traditional homeowners?
Yeah, I have one that was going to sell his place and buy a place, and I just talked to him yesterday, and he's like I'm going to put a little pause on things with this volatility going on.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit. There's been a couple people that have kind of like, I don't know if I want to buy right now. Maybe I'll wait till all the smoke clears from the first 6 months Trump's in office. I told him, like, with fear and uncertainty, house hacking is actually a pretty freaking good strategy if you're doing it because you're doing a thing that most people don't do. It's not like you're buying a house by yourself in Highlands Ranch.
Yep.
You're buying a house and reducing and eliminating your housing cost. So that works in any market. Works even better in a bad market because if you do lose your job, at least you know you got your housing taken care of. So it's not the end of the world with the fear. And then your competition freaks out, so they understand that. So there's more opportunity for buyers as well.
I agree. Yeah, Jeff and I were talking about that just the other day, that we've got a couple clients that lost their jobs, but because they're house hacking, their overhead's economical, so they can get the next job lined up. One guy's close to a year, the other one's 6 months-ish. But yeah, they'll get a job and get cooking again. But because they're house hacking, they're able to float their boat. And they're still, if you think about it,
that's such great news.
yeah, they're like still increasing their value and paying down their mortgage in the meantime while they're kind of living
probably for a couple $100 a month,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, without a job, collecting
Yeah.
a little bit of unemployment in between.
That is one of the nice things about house hacking is it's just one of I think one of the best strategies out there is, hey, we all know the numbers make sense, but also if you're truly house hacking and you have a life event change, like you said, your personal overhead is on the lower side.
Yeah, than it would be otherwise.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen. Well, we talked trends, we talked the deal, we talked about tariffs. Any other topics before we wrap up for the day, wrap up for the month? Anything exciting?
Boy, yeah, tariffs. Yeah, let's don't talk
what's
about that
something
next
fun?
month.
What was something fun you guys are doing?
Oh gosh, ask Jeff. He's got all the fun.
What are you doing fun, Jeff?
Scuba diving with my dad at Condo.
Ooh, are you a scuba diver?
I just got certified. We're doing it tomorrow, actually, for the final dives.
So have you been beyond the swimming pool certifications yet?
I went to the aquarium. That was fun.
Did they have a scuba diving program in the aquarium?
Yeah. In the dining room
You
section,
can actually dive in one of the tanks with the fish?
Yep. Yeah, you can see they have a section where the dining room is, where they do scuba divers practice right there, and little kids are up there, little families. I'm waving at them.
So that's where you actually got your certification training at?
Awesome.
Yeah, the first 2 dives down there. Yeah, so it was fun.
So I was certified years ago. I haven't done it, but this is in college. I did 2 or 3 dives in the swimming pool. then we went out to the ocean, and there was a big difference between the swimming pool and the wild.
Yeah.
Aquarium feels like the training wheels.
I was that's way better.
Little deeper. There's real fish in there. Probably colder water.
Oh yeah,
But better than the pool. That's a bigger contrast.
Oh yeah.
Chris went.
Yeah, that's.
See, I told you he'd have the fun.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You got anything fun, Brandon?
I'm going to Hawaii in a couple weeks here.
Oh, very nice.
Taking the family
Yeah.
and the mother-in-law. So we're gonna try. Maybe we'll try out living together.
That'll be a test run. Yeah.
You bring the mother-in-law help out with watching the little ones.
Yeah, we ended up. It was something through the franchise. We won this trip with some. So they paid for one room, but it didn't accommodate all 3 kids. So we had to pay for a second room anyway. So we're like, all right, might as well bring her and make it. Then we have some
built-in
some
daycare.
flexibility.
Oh yeah,
Built-in
He
daycare.
goes to bed. Our 4-year-old will go to bed earlier so that we can be out later with the bigger kids.
Yeah. Oh, awesome.
Nice. I like it.
Well, good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, win some fun stuff. Well, guys, another great podcast. Appreciate you coming out, talking trends. I always learn something. So we'll see you in April. So if you guys ever want to talk lending, make sure you come out here and talk to Troy. If you guys need help with property management or want an audit of how your portfolio is performing, go talk to Brandon and his team at Key Renter Denver. And of course, if you're into house hacking or some creative rental strategies, Jeff White is the man to talk to in Denver. All right, guys.
Absolutely.
Have a great week. And we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.